You are listening to Cage Prophet Radio.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Man, I got a lot of cash and boy, my money low. Man, I got a lot of haters.
Welcome back to Cage Prophet, episode 2, UFC 211. Now we're going to be breaking down the UFC card, but real quick, if you haven't listened to episode 1, go back and check out episode 1. We had Bellator fighter Steve Cazzola on. He broke down some of his fighting techniques, nutrition. He discussed future opponents, called a few out. Check that out. It was a lot of fun, and we hope to have Steve back on in the podcast in the future. We've got a lot of fighters coming onto the podcast. We're just getting them all lined up right now. We've got a UFC fighter booked. We've got a couple more Bellator guys in the works. So don't worry about me not having guests on. You will be hearing from more guests. It's just this week I'm going to be breaking down some fights real quick for you from UFC 211. So let's get to the card. From top to bottom, this card is fucking insane. There's so many fan favorites on this. I mean, people that I don't think should be matched up because it's going to like derail so many people. You've got everything from Alvarez versus Poirier on the undercard. Alvarez was just the champ a couple months ago, and now you're giving him super hungry Dustin Poirier, about to derail his fucking career forever if he gets knocked out by Dustin, and vice versa. Dustin, he needs to climb back up the ranks. He just got a W over Jim Miller, but losing to Michael Johnson really set him back on that title chase, and a stepping stone like Alvarez is going to give him right back in the title shot discussions. But as we all know, Alvarez hits pretty hard, and Dustin's chin is fairly suspect these days. I love the dude, but Conor McGregor kind of had it right when he said, all you got to do is a stiff breeze and he'll do the chicken dance or some shit like that. Dustin always gets wobbled in his fights. He can come back from them, but I expect to see this one back and forth. We'll get into the picks here in a minute. I'm just going to keep running through some of these matchups. Also on the undercard, Skelly versus Knight. This fight is fucking insane. I can't believe they made this fight. These are two of the most exciting guys in that division. Young, up-and-coming guys that are just finishing everything. Jason Knight's 19-2. Chaz Skelly 17-2. Both high finish ratios. Jason Knight finishes by submission 63% of the time. Chaz Skelly 53% of the time. Both can strike too. These dudes are action-packed no matter where they're at. This fight's going to be a banger. I can't wait for this one. This is probably my most anticipated fight on the card, just on a level of action, right up next to Stipe versus Dos Santos. You've also got Edgar versus Rodriguez. That's a giant what the fuck. Rodriguez is basically carrying the UFC fan base of Mexico on his back, and Edgar is no joke. Bad stylistic matchup, and we'll see how that plays out. We've got Maia versus Masvidal, Young Jacek versus Andrade, who's basically a smaller cyborg, and Miocic versus Dos Santos. All these fights are fucking bangers. So let's get into breaking it down. And first and foremost, I'm going to give you my dog picks.
Who let the dogs out? Row, 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 row.
Oh, that's right. I hear some doggies barking. Do you hear some doggies barking? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. All right, so these are my dog picks here. Keep in mind, these are not all going to be things that I'm betting on, but I just want to bring it to people's attention. When I see a line that's off, it kind of makes me think, that's disrespectful a little bit. So I'll hit that disrespect button.
Disrespect.
When I see a line that's way off, like I'm going to go back to Darren Elkins being plus 500 against Mirsad Bektic. That was
Disrespect.
disrespect. That was disrespect. Darren Elkins ended up getting that KO after being brutalized, but there's always a puncher's chance, and sometimes when there's a line that's so off, when it's plus 400 for no fucking reason, you just got to throw a little bit of quiche on it. On this card, I'm seeing a fight that I really, really like in Chaz Skelly versus Jason Knight. Jason Knight is a plus 113 underdog, and I think that's about right, but I'm gonna go with Jason Knight to get the win on this one. Chaz is a great fighter. I don't want to see either of these guys lose, to be honest. But Jason Knight is just way too fucking scrappy to pass up at plus money. This should be an even pick'em at minus 110. I mean, to put Jason Knight at plus 113, I'm gonna take it. But if you're worried about Chad Skelly being able to pull off the win, which isn't out of the question in any way, I would bet the under on this fight for sure. Under 2.5 rounds at plus 165. I think that's pretty much a guarantee. Both these dudes get finishes at high rates, and they're both super active. So I think under 2.5 rounds for plus 165 sounds right for my money. My next underdog pick is going to be Damian Maia at plus 110. I know everybody's worried about Jorge Masvidal being able to violently put on a boxing clinic here, but honestly, I think Damian Maia has shown time and time again, even when everybody has counted him out, he finds a way to get that trip or get some sort of awkward takedown to the ground, and then it's just a straight up jiu-jitsu clinic. He's the best in the world for a reason. I mean, just go back and look at what he did to Carlos Condit. Nobody thought with Condit's mobility that Maia would be able to put his paws on him so fast, put him down, and absolutely fucking destroy him. I'm less confident about this one, but I really do think Maia can find a way to the ground, and I don't think Jorge's going to have much for him once they get there. Jorge's a competent wrestler. He'll be able to stand back up on some of these attempts, but as long as Maia can handle the volume of punches that Jorge's throwing at him on his way in for the takedown, I think we should see Maia be able to get it to the ground and get the win. He's my dog pick at plus 110. For my final dog pick, I'm going to be doing Enrique Barzola at plus 120. He's going to be facing off against Gabriel Benitez. Benitez throws heavy leg kicks, very nasty leg kicks. But Barzola is pretty talented with catching kicks. He uses his wrestling to secure rounds. He's also solid on his feet. He takes quick angles. I think Benitez is going to get caught with takedowns off of his kicks. I think that Barzola just looks a little bit sharper on his feet, taking some slick angles to get his wrestling in its best position to secure takedowns and grind out rounds. I think Barzola at plus 120 is a good bet, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to decision either. You can never trust the judges' scorecards these days, though, but I think Enrique Barzola is going to get this one done by decision. Just for the record, I was going to suggest Pettis at plus 350 because Pettis at plus 350 is
disrespect.
Disrespect, that's right. That was going to be a fight I was looking forward to. I thought Pettis was just going to be too much for Cejudo, land some nasty body shots, put Cejudo to the ground, and pretty much shock everybody. But plus 350 was a little bit off on that line, and I was going to suggest taking advantage of that. Unfortunately, Cejudo pulled out of the fight, citing a hand injury. Pettis is going to have to weigh in now on Friday just to collect his show money. Unfortunate for him, but we'll see him bounce back. On to my regular picks. I've got some prop suggestions in this first fight. Now, with this fight, I'm not too confident on the outcome either way. I love Dustin Poirier, wouldn't want to bet against him personally, and Eddie Alvarez is in a tough spot in his career where he needs to bounce back. This fight can really go either way. Here's some prop bets that I think could really be profitable. Personally, I think Dustin Poirier could finish Alvarez in any of the 3 rounds. So if you go and look at the prop bets by round, Poirier wins round 1 is plus 475. Poirier wins round 2 plus 675. Poirier wins round 3 plus 1200. So if you throw even money on Poirier winning in each round, no matter what, if he gets a finish, you're making money. Another highly anticipated fight is Yair Rodriguez versus Frankie Edgar. I know a lot of people are going Yair as the best dog on this card, and he very well may be, but personally I think Edgar's going to get it done with his wrestling. Yair's creative striking, his fancy kicks, I think Edgar's not going to entertain that shit. Edgar's so straightforward, hard-nosed, old school, just wrestler, grind it out. I think Edgar's going to punch him up, get inside, get the takedown, grind Yair out on the ground. And we haven't really seen Yair have to do much groundwork, so I think Edgar's king in that realm, and I think that's how he's going to get the fight called for him by decision. I mean, obviously this fight could play out with a flying fuck you kick to Edgar's face and a KO, but I honestly think that this is going to be a 3-round grind session, and Edgar's going to come out with the victory. I'm picking Edgar at -130. Moving on, we're going to see Joanna defend that belt again at -155. This is the best line we've seen on Joanna in a long time, possibly because it's the best competition she's had in a long time. Andrade is very dangerous, but I'm siding with the champ. I think we'll see a successful title defense. And finally, in the main event of UFC 211, we have Stipe Miocic versus Junior Dos Santos. I've got a second successful title defense lined up for that as well. Stipe at -125 is a fantastic bet. A lot of people thought Stipe won that first fight, but when these two guys matched up the first time, I think Junior's coming off some ring rust. He's been out of the ring for 13 months now. Stipe's got all the momentum, all the confidence in the world. He's finished for Doom, Overeem. Dos Santos is a huge power puncher. He's definitely one of the titans of the division, but I just think Stipe's got that Superman confidence right now. I think we're going to witness a double title defense at UFC 211. That's how it's going down in my book. So that's it. Those are my picks. Can't wait for this card. I'm super excited, and I can't wait to hear back from you guys, hear what you think. Even if you want to just drop in and comment, hey, you fucking suck, when none of these picks come to fruition on Sunday, that's fine. This is just one man's opinion. For the most part, they're fairly educated. I do have a good track record, but you win some, you lose some. This is mostly a podcast for fight fans to talk about what they think is going to happen. Vegas odds are always a good way to calculate the probabilities of certain things happening in fights, and it just makes things more fun to have a little bit of skin in the game. So I hope that this podcast has made things helpful for people. Bet responsibly. If you do bet, don't come crying to me that you lost your kid's college fund, you fucking derelict. It's just for fun, guys. So enjoy the fights. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys next week. Leave some comments, share the video, share the podcast, share the love. All right, guys, until next week, I have been Kevin DeVore, and you have been listening to Cage Profit Radio. Let Dubby show you the door.
Fade a breath, I'm blowing up, you staying next. AI flow, spraying vets, try to cut me off, I ain't fading yet. Man, I got a lot of cash and boy, my money long. Man, I got a lot of haters, keep that hating on.